One emotion, 1 second, one mistake. That's all it takes to destroy everything you've built. A relationship, a career, your dignity. Have you ever lost your temper only to regret it the moment after? Something you didn't mean slammed a door you couldn't reopen, or broke something that couldn't be fixed. We've all been there, and most of the time it wasn't logic that got us into trouble. It was emotion. But what if I told you your emotions aren't just bad advisors, they're your greatest enemies, not because they're evil, but because they're unstable, impulsive, and blind. That's not my idea. That's Epictetus, a man born in chains who discovered a freedom more powerful than anything external. He believed we don't suffer because of events, but because of how we feel about them. And at the root of those feelings, emotion. Let me show you what he meant. Epictetus lived in chains, literally. A slave in Rome, owned, ordered, beaten. One day, his master twisted his leg during an argument. Epictetus didn't cry out. He just looked at him and said, "If you keep doing that, you'll break it." The master kept going and broke it. Epictetus calmly replied, "I told you so." He walked with a limp for the rest of his life, but never with anger. Why? Because emotion, especially rage, would have changed nothing. It would have handed his master 2 victories, one over his body and another over his soul. Epictetus refused the second. That's what makes Stoic philosophy so radical. It doesn't tell you to repress your emotions. It tells you to master them, to understand that emotion is like fire. Controlled, it warms you. Uncontrolled, it burns your life down. And most people, they're walking around with a matchbook and no water. Think about the last time someone insulted you. What happened? Your chest tightened, your jaw clenched, thoughts raced. Maybe you shouted back. Maybe you replayed it all night in your head, crafting the perfect comeback. But none of that helped you, because you gave power to the very thing meant to test you. That's why Epictetus taught it's not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. The insult wasn't the enemy. Your reaction was. Let's get real. Emotion is seductive. It whispers, "You deserve to be angry. You have every right to feel this way. Don't just sit there, do something." But emotion rarely wants justice. It wants drama. It doesn't solve problems, it escalates them. You shout to prove a point, but instead the other person shuts down or shouts louder. Now what began as a disagreement becomes a battle of egos. Epictetus would ask, who is really in control here? The man who remains calm or the one who reacts like a puppet pulled by invisible strings? Stoicism is about cutting those strings. It's about choosing to be free, not from pain or insult, but from being ruled by them. Picture this. You're stuck in traffic, late. Again, your blood pressure rises, horns blare, you punch the steering wheel, but what changes? Nothing. Except now you're more anxious, more exhausted, and less present when you finally arrive. Emotion made you suffer twice. Epictetus would say, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. And what's in your power? Not traffic, not rude people, not your past, not even tomorrow, just this moment. Your breath, your choices. That's it. That's everything. Now don't get me wrong, Stoic philosophy doesn't ask you to become a robot. Emotions will still come. Fear, sadness, anger, they're part of being human. But what it teaches is this: you are not your feelings. You are the one who observes them. And if you can observe something, you can choose how to respond to it. Anger is not an order. Anxiety is not a master. Jealousy is not a fact. They are passing weather. You are the sky. The Stoic stands like a mountain. The storm may rage, but it does not shake the earth beneath. The problem today is that most people never learn this. They think strength is loud, emotionally expressive, passionate, but strength is silence when insulted. It's grace when misunderstood. It's walking away when your ego screams to stay and prove a point. Because here's what Epictetus knew. The person who angers you owns you. And freedom doesn't look like revenge. It looks like peace. So how do we begin? First, pause. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. That space is your power. Use it. Second question, the emotion. Ask, is this true? Is this useful? Is this mine, or just a reaction from habit? You'll be surprised how many emotional fires die without oxygen. Third, practice. Not once, every day. It's like lifting weights. You won't be calm overnight, but the more you train the mind, the more your soul becomes still. And that stillness, that's what the world can't shake. You become untouchable, not because you feel nothing, but because you control everything worth controlling yourself. Maybe you've been ruled by emotion your whole life. Maybe anger has ruined moments that could have been peaceful. Maybe anxiety has stolen days you'll never get back. But today can be different. Today you can decide not to suppress who you are, but to rise above who you've been. Remember, Epictetus began as a slave, but he became free, not when his chains were broken, but when his attachments were. When he realized that no one could steal his peace unless he handed it to them. Emotion is loud. Stoicism is quiet. But in that silence there is power, and in that power there is freedom. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, don't react. Don't play their game. Smile. Observe. Choose your response, because that's what it means to be mentally strong. That's what it means to live the Stoic life. If this message woke something up in you, don't let it fade. Subscribe. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And in the comments, tell me, what emotion are you learning to master? This is the work. This is Stoic philosophy alive. And it starts with you, right now.